What's good, locos? This is Angel from the Monsters in the Morning on Real Radio 1041, and you're listening to the voice of UCF, Marc Daniels, and the Beat of Sports on FM 96.9 The Game. You want real sports talk? You got it right here.
Soon to be announced best sportscaster in Orlando out there, Angel. Happy Thursday. I say that with love. Happy Thursday and welcome to the Beat of Sports. I'm Marc Daniels. Chris Vasquez is over there. How you doing, Chris? No hat today, huh?
No hat today. I feel like I'm looking a little bit dapper. Got a nice button up.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm looking pretty all right.
Easier to get on. Maybe you dropped a pound or two. I'm sure sitting in bed wolfing down sushi rolls and candy.
Hey, I'm like DK Metcalf, baby.
Yeah. If he ate the sushi. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Messed up with the sushi. Should have just ate another bag of candy. I got.
There's nothing wrong with the supermarket sushi. Just, you know what you're buying. That's all.
Yeah. And it's $5. All I care about is it stays down. I'm not getting sick.
Yeah.
Tastes good. It's fine. I should have, instead of the sushi,
Do you use soy sauce? Will you put wasabi in the soy sauce and do the whole thing?
Don't do wasabi. Wasabi's too spicy. Soy sauce.
Okay. Do you put the soy sauce on the roll, or do you like a side little right on the roll?
No, because sometimes the wrap job on the sushi is not necessarily the greatest.
So open that thing up right there in bed, huh?
Yep.
And follow it up with some candy.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah.
Make DK Metcalf proud.
Yeah.
I have another bag of sour jelly beans that'll be consumed tonight.
Brought in breakfast bites that I made yesterday, and Chris is not.
You should have told me you should not have told me what was in them. That's on you. You know better.
So now you don't want to try.
You know what?
No. There's no arm twisting going on here.
No, it's fine.
Just do what you want to do.
It's fine. I will try one. We can bring back the.
Fine. You poo-pooed it earlier.
Fine.
I'll think about it. Maybe the show within the show.
I'm glad we're not doing the things that Chris doesn't eat that Chris will eat anymore.
Cottage cheese,
Ugh.
broccoli, eggs,
yum,
breadcrumbs,
yum,
cheddar cheese,
yum.
That's it. The first two, though, right?
First two.
No. You can't even taste the cottage cheese.
Oh, so I can taste the broccoli? Mark, do you remember how long it took me to eat the piece of broccoli?
Listen, I think you'll like it. There's too much cheddar cheese, so you'll basically taste the cheddar cheese.
I will try it.
Yeah.
I will try it.
Yeah.
If you want me to.
Then I told Kelly I made the cantaloupe ice cream list.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good. You gonna knock that?
No, because you told me about it yesterday.
Yeah, it's really good. It's good.
Should do like a
and natural,
like a watermelon.
I am next. Yeah, because and the cantaloupe I got still a little bit too ripe, so it was a little bit tougher. The watermelon would be easier, softer, but yeah, it was good. It's fine. That concludes the cooking portion of the program today. Got a big dinner tonight, though.
Oh, are you cooking?
No. Big dinner. My son-in-law to be, my youngest daughter's fiance, his parents and my wife and I going out tonight.
Oh,
big dinner.
Oh, discussing wedding plans.
It'll come up. Yeah. Now they've been asking us to go. I mean, we get along with them great. They're great people, but they wanted to, get together. I mean, it's been a year since the kids got engaged. They've been together for 5 years, and schedules are like, oh, they really want to go out. All right. I picked the restaurant.
So just the two.
My turf.
Two adults, no kids.
Oh yeah, my daughter and son-in-law be yeah. But my daughter-in-law is like petrified.
Can't say I blame her.
No, like Dad. I mean, you're going to be. I mean, what? What do you think I'm going to be? Of course, I'm going to be a nice guy. Yeah, she's just nervous about what's going to be discussed, and
I was going to say, what is going to be the main topic of conversation?
Hopefully, just 4 adults enjoying time and going out. They've not been to the place we're going to, and
are they sports fans?
Oh yeah, huge.
They are. Is this the Louisiana or Cleveland?
This is the Ohio.
Okay.
Fan base here. Big Ohio State fans and Guardians and Cavaliers and Browns. Yeah. But there'll be some winning talk.
You can bring up Jake Paul potentially being a member of the Cleveland Browns.
No. But they insist on paying tonight. So I did text my daughter this morning. Go. So is the third appetizer too much to order tonight? She goes, Dad. Anything else? Can I get a to go? Can I get something to go?
We get a second dessert. Maybe I'll get a second old fashioned.
Yeah. Can you add some stuff on top of that? Yeah.
How much does the shrimp cost extra? $6? Ah, bring it on.
And then my daughter said, you got to change the reservation time. What do you mean? They eat earlier. What time? Yeah. They're early eaters. It's okay. Yeah. So, have some fun. Huh? How we doing? Have some fun. Yeah. Anyway.
You want some dad jokes to tell them for later?
No. Coming up on the program today, Mike O'Donnell will join us on this Thursday because Mike has got some commitments tomorrow. So we'll chat with him a little basketball about 10:15. Cam Miller, 10:35-ish. His weekly football visit. We're getting closer towards college football camps opening. Today's history lesson, it's great because I'm not quite sure people understood how close something came from happening 30 years ago that would have had significant impact on where we are today in one sport. So that'll be coming up later in the history lesson, which we'll get to. When we come back, just another example of if it really mattered to you, you would do something about it, and when the commitment means nothing. But first, here's everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CV's dad joke of the day.
That's so great.
I do want this texter to know who texted in a joke. I see it. I can't say it, but I do appreciate it. It's a funny joke.
Oh, so what's your policy on people that want to text you a joke?
By all means, text me a joke.
Yeah.
For the most part, I will always have jokes. But if there's one, I'm like, damn, that's the one.
Yeah.
Then I might.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how was that joke that was sent in?
Oh,
he's going to be kind.
I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
It made me chuckle.
Okay.
I'll tell it to you.
All right.
The police are looking for somebody they call the birthday party thief. Mark, I've heard of a lot of crazy criminals, but this one takes the cake. The birthday party criminal, he takes the cake.
I can't emphasize it. People think it's a fake laugh. It's not. He literally laughs at his own jokes.
That's so good.
He's the voice you trust for the teams you love. You're listening to Marc Daniels and the Beat of Sports.
You can listen to the show on FM 96.9, AM 740. You can access this on the iHeart app, which you can download for free. Make it a preset button. Listen to the show in podcast form, where you go get your podcast, type in the Beat of Sports on demand, and it's there for you if you subscribe when you want to listen to it, and catch the live video stream where Chris is going to eat a breakfast bite that includes cottage cheese and broccoli later.
Yes.
Go to our YouTube page, 96 on the Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button. You can also get the access to the stream by going to 96.9 Game on Twitter. Chris, let me do this first. Yeah. What was the topic for the SEC when the week started at their media days, which is finishing up finally day 4 today, that they're going to what?
Break away.
Break away.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't get rules, then we got a problem. So I want to play something, part of the media go-round that he did, Commissioner Greg Sankey, who is a really, really bright person, and he's been a great commissioner for the SEC because he is looking out for them. Just like Roger Goodell's main job is make money for the owners. That's it. But this is something from an interview that Sankey did on Monday, and he's talking about, hey, all this discussion about breakaway. What are some of the frustrations that you have? And he shares one or two here.
We have a waiver system in the NCAA that doesn't seem to make sense. We have former professional athletes coming back and being deemed eligible under this waiver system, which makes no sense relative to where we were even 2 years ago.
And he goes on to explain some stuff, okay? So it's about, hey, if the NCAA can't enforce their own rules, then we'll just break away and then we'll set up our own rules, okay? So I would ask Greg Sankey this, okay? What do you want the NCAA to do in the following scenario that happened in the last 24 hours, okay? This has taken place in the last 24 hours. Cole Hudson is an offensive lineman. Chris, you might need to use your fingers here. Maybe not. He started for Texas and played 4 years. 4 years.
Got 4.
He played 4 years of football at Texas. He started almost 30 games in his career at Texas.
Okay.
He entered the NFL draft. He finished up eligibility at Texas, and he entered the NFL draft. He did not get drafted. There is not a rule that allows a player to go through the NFL draft, not get drafted, and go back to college even if they had eligibility. But he played 4 years, entered the draft, did not get drafted. Your Dallas Cowboys invited him as an undrafted camp invitee.
Mm-hmm.
He went and participated in that minicamp while hiring an attorney to challenge the fifth-year eligibility age rule now put in place. Because at some point when they decided to go 5 for 5, they had to pick a year, when to start. And anybody before that was going to go, well, wait a minute. He's part of that class. So he hires a law firm who files a case against the NCAA, and their argument is that the NCAA is preventing him from, hold on, wait a minute, Chris, before you think, advancing his skill set to play professional football. First and foremost. 2, limiting his ability of being paid by Texas to play football. 3, taking away the opportunity of earning NIL money that he could make if he was a college player. And saying, others got a 5th year, I should get a 5th year. Does anybody guess what state he filed this with?
No.
What state?
Texas.
2 days ago, Steve Sarkisian said, hey, we're following it. I don't know which way it's going to go, but we'll see. And he gave the kind of safe answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, a Texas judge
Shocker.
granted a temporary restraining order, making him eligible pending a court hearing. So I would ask Greg Sankey, what do you want the NCAA to do? What would you like them to do? Set a rule, ask one of your members to follow said rule. We passed a rule regarding 5 for 5. We chose a start date for it. And one of your member institutions is going to take a player back at the moment because they found a Texas-based judge to give him a favorable ruling. Now, a hearing may lead to him not being eligible. Does anybody for a second think he's not going to get a favorable ruling in where? What state?
Texas.
So I would ask Greg Sankey, why isn't your member saying, hey, there's been a rule in place, we can't take you back? I would just ask him. If the complaint is there are rules and they can't be enforced, so therefore we have to leave. What did the NCAA do wrong here? Now, you may not like when they chose the start date of 5 for 5, but they had to pick some point. It had to pick at some point.
Mark, what's the phrase? Rules for thee, not for me.
But I would do the bounce fest back to him. Why haven't you stepped forward and say, can't do it? Can't do it. Why? Well, because we honored that rule. We agreed to that rule. It's not that hard. Now, Greg Sankey, I've not seen anything regarding a comment publicly about it. Others have stated about, but he played 4 years. 4 years. He entered the draft. He went undrafted. The Cowboys invited him to their undrafted camp. He participated, but he says, hey, I should get that 5th year. What stops Greg Sankey by saying, no, that we're not doing that in this league?
Rules for thee, not for me.
So when he says about the eligibility, we got guys that are pros that are deemed eligible. Well, the minute that guy stepped on the Cowboys practice field, do you view him as a pro?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, Greg, what do you want the NCAA to do? Here's a rule. We're going to follow it. We got it. Is it perfect? It isn't perfect, but it's a rule. We're going to follow it. Well, what? Just tell him, sorry, Texas, he can't play for you. Yeah. He can't, because you know what? Everybody was yelling at Texas Tech with Brendan Sorsby and gambling and seeking a 5th year. I'm not telling you that it's apples to apples. But if you're going to yell at Texas Tech, they go, hey, all you guys did was find a local judge to rule in your favor. Well, what the hell happened here? From that standpoint, what's different?
By the way, these attorneys got to be loving life right now. All this money with these clients, just constantly suing.
Let me give you the other story, okay? 10 o'clock hour, WYGM Orlando, WJR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Yesterday, big recruiting news. Chris, 5-star plus, not 5-star, 5-star plus.
5-star. Is it a paid subscription?
Like Uber X, man. 5-star, 5-star plus.
Got a paid subscription here.
David Gabriel Georges is a running back. And some say he's the top running back in the country. And he announced his commitment yesterday. I'm picking this up after, and I'm not picking the kid, and English is not the family's first language, but after I want to thank powers above, I want to thank coaches, I want to thank teammates, I want to thank everybody. We got to the point, we got 3 hats on the table, okay? If you're facing the stage, there's an Ole Miss hat on the left, an Ohio State hat in the middle, and a Tennessee hat to the right, okay? Someone's holding a microphone. His family is behind him. And he's going to make the announcement, but without saying the school, he kind of leans back, and his sister will lean in and grab the hat of choice. Okay, so somebody pick it up here.
I'm preparing to announce my final decision. I would like to say that this was probably the most difficult decision that I had to make in my life. and this decision was not taken lightly. With this decision, I am deciding to trust my heart, and I'm choosing the program where I feel the most like home for me and where I feel like I will be the most comfortable with achieving my goals. With that said, for the next few years, I choose to continue my academics and athletic career at.
And Sister leans in and grabs the Tennessee hat. Those that have followed his story, yesterday the reports were that he signs the largest running back deal ever. They say that again, people that Chris Lowe was the first report. It's $2 million plus additional dollars for the family to be able to fly and see him play, and whether there's anything else on top of it, fine. And everybody's like, wow, Tennessee lands 5-star player. Who are the other two hats on the table?
Ole Miss and Ohio State.
Okay. Does anybody think for a second that Ohio State's like, cool, move on to the next guy? What did he do yesterday? He didn't do anything other than sit at a table, and we do this all the time. Sit at a table, touch a hat, and everybody goes crazy over this.
He just drove up his price, didn't he?
I'm not telling you he's not going to, in the fall of 27, wear Tennessee orange coming out at Neyland Stadium. He didn't sign anything. I mean, you want to talk about, like we've gone from point A to maybe N or M in paying players in that world. We haven't moved from A to B in the stupidity of covering these, put a hat on a table. He didn't sign anything. Now, that doesn't mean that Tennessee might not be paying him something, because that's quite common to try to keep the commitment. If you want to make this stuff real, he signs an agreement with Tennessee that binds him now. All Ohio State did is say, what is it, $2 million? Get back to you. Have a good month. Enjoy the summer. We'll come back at 2-3, 2-5. You want to make any of this stuff stick, put your name on a contract that binds you to it. Otherwise, who cares what he did yesterday? Until he signs, and it's not even a letter of intent anymore, whatever we call it, grant and aid. Until he, and by the way, that doesn't mean anything because you get out of it. You want to make this stuff hold? Then yesterday, instead of the hat game, after you pick the hat, here's a written agreement that binds you to that school. How have we not done that yet?
But Mark, if we give him a contract to sign to bind him to us, he may not sign it.
Right, which is why it's so funny to me when we do these press conferences and we got, the hat's there and he's, going to pull off a shirt and the family's got, and I'm not telling you it's not a big moment, and he's probably getting money, whatever the table is under, over, because that's the game now, okay? But he didn't agree to anything. He had a press conference.
Mark, are we giving these kids too much power? Coming out of high school.
It's not power.
It is power.
No.
It is.
Chris, nobody forces these schools to go to the extent that they do. It's become, quote, the game. My point is, we now have a system in which players get paid. It's got nothing to do with endorsements. It's got nothing to do with name, image, and likeness. It's just you're paying the players. We are so antiquated in the system of signing players out of high school. You want it to matter, sign a binding agreement that you're going to this school. And that agreement includes, if you change your mind, there's a penalty. Otherwise, who cares what he did yesterday? Who cares? There's no agreement. Ohio State can go, that's cool, nice press conference. And if they want to come back and go, here's $3 million, house for the family, cars for everybody, he could change his mind. We're so antiquated in this. We've made steps on the other side about getting guys paid. For this, it was a hat show. That's all that was. And maybe the family got some cash now. And maybe Ohio State already paid him for the visit. And they'll just come back and pay more. But he didn't sign anything yesterday. You want to make it stick? Here's a contract. Sign it. Well, it's got to be collective bargain. No. Two people can have a written agreement. Otherwise, it's a hat show. That's all that was yesterday. It was like, oh, that moved Tennessee up to so-and-so in the rankings. Dude, he didn't do anything but have media coverage of touching a hat yesterday. Mike O'Donnell's going to talk some basketball with us, a special Thursday edition of Step Back 3 next.
three, set. Let's talk college hoops. Let's talk hoops with college basketball analyst Mike O'Donnell.
We normally chat hoops on Fridays with Mike, but he's got commitments, so he's kind of offer his wisdom to us on this Thursday. Good morning, Mr. O'Donnell. How are you?
Oh, a little wisdom. I've never been accused of that before, but I do appreciate that intro. Do you mind if I share, unless you can, this is your show, share briefly a few experiences I had in Tallahassee with my brother?
Yeah, last time we spoke,
week.
the O'Donnell family was on their way to Tallahassee, where your brother Ben lives with his family, to spend some time, and we learned about the road trip. So please share.
So for any new listeners, my brother is a different cat, right? He just lift weights. He yells at people, lift weights, and he eats really, really burnt chicken. That's all he does. That's his entire life. But he's an amazing father. So with one of the more interesting things was we went. We were going to do a bunch of stuff with the kids and everything, and we're driving back to their house afterwards, like late in the evening. And Ben just doesn't stop. Like, he's in coach mode all the time. We might be sitting in the kitchen with him talking, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs about, basically nothing. Like, for example, in the morning, he'd be like, "Hey, Mike, would you like I'm going to make breakfast. Would you like it like an egg wrap?" And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds great, a homemade egg wrap." In my head, that's what I said. But before I even said anything, he said, Do you eat those? Do you not eat those? I don't know if you like those or not. And if I'm going to make them, you're going to have them. I think if I make them, you have them, and just go ahead and eat them. And I was like, okay, I don't even know how to respond to all that. But you got to remember, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. So that's Ben. He's just making the decision for her because he's in coach mode all the time. So I said, okay, great, man. So we're driving up to the house, and he asked me the first time in, it was kind of a quiet moment, which is a rare thing. He goes, "Hey, Mike, how is work going? What's your day-to-day look like now?" And I was so taken back by that. I said, "Wow, man, I said, I appreciate you asking that." I started talking about, what my daily and weekly routine is. Mm-hmm. And in about 25 to 30 seconds, we pull up to the driveway. And before I even finish one full sentence, he yells at the top of his lungs, "Oh my gosh, there's a green lizard." And he slams the car to park. He jumps out of the truck, and he, in one crow hop of a jump, lands on top of this green lizard and grabs the green lizard.
What?
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "You just asked me arguably the most professional and mature question you've ever asked in your entire life. I was so excited as your older brother to talk to you about this." Lasted 30 seconds, jumped out, immediately grabbed the green. I'm like, "What are you doing, man?" He goes, "Oh, these are really rare, hard to find, and the kids are going to love them. You're going to love. Let's learn about nature, circle of life, and everything." And like, he kept the lizard, and I'm sitting in the car. The kids jump out of the car. They start going nuts because this is like kind of a chameleon type lizard, and he wanted to talk about the lizard. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, that was insane. That was absolutely insane. I don't know any other human being who would ask a mature question like that. And then 30 feet away, Mark, it wasn't like it was just crawling right next to us. Like, he saw it from a distance, slammed on the brake, put it in park, jumped out in a huge broad jump, and was able to catch this green lizard.
It's like Costanza seeing a dime across Jerry's apartment.
That's right. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life, ever.
Did you ever get back to answering his question about your job, or no?
No, you don't need to answer that question.
Yeah.
Of course not. But I do have, it was a very interesting Publix situation with them. So we go to Publix to go get ice cream because the O'Donnells we are ice cream fanatics. I really enjoy the pint of like Jenny's ice cream. I love that pint. Ben, you get the Publix gallon of ice cream, that half gallon. Ben eats a half a gallon each setting. Half gallon ice cream.
The whole thing.
Just the Mint Moose Tracks just absolutely obliterates it.
Mint Moose Tracks fantastic. There's no way I could eat a whole gallon.
It's not even a thought for him. The funny thing is that he puts it in some huge like dog bowl, even though like he's going to eat the whole thing, but he still puts it in. But we go into Publix and we're walking in to get ice cream, and we walk in and he grabs the green cart, the hand cart. And I said, what are you They go to the basket. I said, well, are you getting other stuff? He goes, no, I'm getting ice cream. I said, what do you need the basket for? He goes, well, I like to put the ice cream in the basket. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, I feel bad if I just walk into Publix just to get a gallon of ice cream.
Mm.
I go, what do you mean you feel bad? He goes, well, when I check out, I think it's better, more professional if I put that Breyers or that Publix gallon of ice cream in the basket. I said, there's no way that's a rational thing, that you really believe, like you just want to put it in that basket. Why do you just carry it? He goes, this doesn't feel right.
Yep.
He goes, plus I don't like putting things in my pockets, and I like the basket to make sure it'll carry my keys, my phone, and my wallet. I said, wait a second. Why don't you like putting your phone and your keys and your wallet in your pockets and your shorts? And he said, it's just, I don't like the swishing and the swashing, and like it just makes me uncomfortable. I said, Ben, we need to go get you some help, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is too much. You shouldn't be thinking like this.
The crazy thing is, although it's been years since I've been around your brother, none of this is shocking because the little time I was around him, it completely makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, we played a family pickup wiffle ball game, and it was so intense. I mean, our kids loved it, and I loved it. We had a good time. But I'm pitching, and his son is up to bat. Ben's son, who's a good athlete and one of the sweetest, greatest kids on the planet. Luke had just hit some bomb. I'm throwing really hard to Luke, like not trying to strike him out, but like trying to challenge him. You know,
Mr. Rowski over here.
Yeah. But like, you know, you're just having fun, but like a competitive fun.
Yeah.
Ben's in the back, just like, you know, talking trash to every child that's up to bat. He's out in the outfield,
like it,
just ready to pounce. Yeah. So I throw a pitch to Tyson. Tyson swings and misses, and Ben screams in the back. He goes, "Do not throw that soft stuff at my son. Throw what you were throwing to Luke. Give him the stinky cheese.
Wow.
Give him the heater." And I look back, and I'm like, you know, it's like 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
We're in this beautiful park. Birds are chirping, and he's like, "No, throw the gas.
Yeah.
Throw the heat. End him. Strike him out." And I'm like, I look at him like, I'm not doing that, man. Like, I love Tyson. This is my nephew. I'm not doing that. I throw another one, and Tyson gets a hit, and he makes it to second base. And Ben looks at me. He goes, "Don't do that. You're being too soft."
Wow.
He goes, I know you got harder heat than that for my son." And I was like, what is happening right now? What is wrong with you? Like, it's just
competitive, man.
No, it wasn't competitive. It was psychotic.
Let me just say this: if you're an FSU basketball fan, you should be fired up because this guy's in charge of your strength and conditioning. So when they play this year, now you know why. Okay.
Oh man, like he's got those guys. I would tell you, like I saw his whole setup in the practice gym and the weight room, and like as much as we get on Ben, he is by far the best strength and conditioning coach that I've ever been around. And there's no doubt that those guys this year are going to be ready. No doubt.
I want to ask as we do pivot to basketball. I don't know how much, but I'm sure you follow to some degree a little bit of the summer league. But I am curious, not just based on the summer league, but of those top picks, Mike, is there anybody more ready for the NBA that the way they played in college, it'll be an easier adjustment? Maybe Darren Peterson scoring from a standpoint of more spacing, which we talked about. Caleb Wilson certainly showed that he was quite elite in the summer league. Is there anybody that you think that will be a very easy adjustment based on how they play?
Man, Mark, the impressive thing is that all those guys were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. And will be made, like, it wasn't like you watch Caleb Wilson, right, who doesn't get talked about enough out of those top three of the Bonsa, Boozer, and Peterson. And Caleb Wilson was awesome. Like, he's making plays for Chicago. And I'm like, good grief. This kid's, maybe even better than what we thought. Any player, because of the spacing in the NBA, number one. And then if you're paired up with any player who can shoot consistently from deep, if you're an elite driver, an elite attacker, and a guy who's awesome at being fearlessly physical at getting to the rim and drawing fouls, I think the Bonds is going to average 20. I think he's going to average 20 because I think 10 to 12 of those are going to come from the free throw line. And I don't think he's one of those guys that is like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There's more if he's kind of baiting guys into fouling him. No, his physicality and his toughness was on full display in summer league, and he's going to have even more spacing and driving opportunities because of Trae Young. His ability to attack the paint is maybe the best I've seen in a decade, and I think it'll immediately translate to the NBA level because of the amount of space and driving lanes for him.
There was a little bit of criticism of Darius Acuff in the summer league, and I'm going to come to his defense a little bit. And I did watch a couple games that he played in, not start to finish, but and please comment on this. Summer league, you got to understand what a team wants to do, but I also think at Arkansas, Cal needed him to just do whatever he needed to do to score, and he was unstoppable. Now in the NBA, even the summer league, you're asked as a point guard, it's a much different to work within a system where they want to get the ball to other guys, and that's an adjustment for him. And I think it ended up becoming a criticism. Like, he looked timid. He couldn't handle NBA defenses. For one, he's not playing NBA defense. He's playing summer league defenses, but he's asked to play a different type of point guard. Doesn't mean the Kings won't want him to be a scoring point guard first, but it's a different game that he's playing. Your thoughts?
I have major issues with the way that Acuff played. I thought the majority of how he played was really good. I really do. I thought people were expecting him to drop 27, 28, which is kind of what you were alluding to, but he kind of focused on running the show more than did Arkansas. In Arkansas, just like you said, he had to score. And he also had to take plays off defensively because he was averaging 36, 37 minutes a game. And I thought his defense was better than what it was at Arkansas. To me, that's the biggest concern. I'm not concerned about his shooting, his scoring, his passing, his ability to run the show. I'm a huge Darius Acuff fan. My concerns are going to be on the defensive end. I thought there were opportunities for him to kind of maybe squelch some of the concerns they had defensively, just in terms of kind of like intent, like sense of urgency. And I don't think all of those concerns were squashed in summer league. I thought some of them were, but not all of them. And it may have been a small missed opportunity from a narrative perspective, but like you said, in high school and in college, he wasn't asked to do that. And so you're asking a player to you're breaking bad habits. And it's certainly a habit that he does need, that needs to be broken in terms of being more connected, more dialed in on the defensive end. Still really good, Mark. I had less issues with how he played than I think maybe some of the other media members did.
Last one. I'm sorry to do this because it's not on the court. But earlier this week, the big story, the SEC football media days is breakaway in rules.
Oh,
and I brought this point up, and I wish somebody in the media would go do this. Somebody asked Todd Golden his thoughts on a breakaway, because if they do, guess who's not playing in the NCAA tournament? And go ask Todd Golden if he'd like to not participate in that event. Not that the breakaway would happen this year, but he's got the number one team in the country going in. Go ask him. Go ask Rick Barnes what those guys think. Hey, what's your thoughts about never playing in the NCAA tournament again?
Yeah, no question, no question. And it's and when you do talk breakaway, and when the SEC talks breakaway, what the general thought process is, nobody's thinking about any other sports.
No.
You're just thinking about football.
College World Series, NCAA basketball
tournament. About basketball. Yeah, you're only thinking about football. If you want to break away just for football, first of all, I'm saying
you can't do that. They won't let you stick around everything else.
You can't, like the legalities of that, and plus, there's, they would get the amount of legal action that would take place if that occurred would be just totally ridiculous. Mark, when anytime here's what I'll say to the general sports fan that's listening. If anytime that you hear, hey, the SEC wants to break away, or an SEC fan who says we should break away, they're just talking about their football team. And they're just talking about SEC football teams playing SEC football teams. It has nothing to do with any other sport, because it wouldn't actually, the dollars could not add up. And you would be cutting sports left and right. And it would just be football. It can't happen. It's not going to happen. Was it a bargaining? Are you just saying that to put pressure on Congress? Maybe. It's always so many times the narratives are just a game to try to push policy forward and through. Maybe that's what it was. I think people were all a little bit too savvy for that, though.
Have a nice week, Mike. Thanks for hooking up today.
You got it. Thanks, Mark.
Mike O'Donnell talking hoops. We get to football with Cam Miller next.
This segment is presented by Bowegan's Beer Company. Love data? Love analytics? Let's take a deeper dive into both as we talk to Cam Mellor.
What you know is very limited, and what you don't know is limitless.
The Chief Analytics and Data Officer at Pro Football Network. You can follow Cam on X or Twitter at Cam Mellor.
We talk football these Thursdays. Camp's getting set to open in just a little bit, and Cam Mellor is here. During the break, it was nice to see Chris and Cam messaging back and forth about how nice the office looks.
Why don't you want to jump in on the chat?
Paint job, everything. You guys going to Home Depot after this or what?
Oh man, I wish. Chris, if you want to come hang out, help out. I need something here. So Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. Stop it on your way. Let me know.
All right, let me dive into this because ESPN has spent countless of hours on a top 100 list of NFL players and Lamar Jackson's big drop, and it's been great fodder for them. But Cam, at your place at ProFootballNetwork.com, Chris, I don't know if you've seen, I did, top 100 list. Whoa, what are you guys doing over there?
It's shocking. Shocking. Sorry. How could we ever put a guy like Lamar Jackson as a top 10 quarterback or a top 10 player overall? It was baffling. Some of their rankings, to be honest with you. We like to take a different approach to it, but also we take an approach to what they do on the field, their impact, not just last year, but 3 seasons growing into noisy sample size. Take Lamar, for instance, injury plague. You can't rank him off that. What he's done in his career, obviously. So 3 years of impact, Lamar Jackson's still there.
Can you share a little bit about what you guys did? Because the NFL won, that was players that voted, which I think sometimes is dangerous because how deep do you think those guys went in sitting down and voting? So what did you guys do to put your top 100 together, and what were some surprises to you based on the formula you put in there?
So we did everything that impacts the success of their team, of an NFL team based on their positions. So things were weighted a little bit differently. Obviously, quarterback play is a little bit more I guess, demanding, but also demanding of a team's impact. So we had to weigh that, but it was those stable metrics from year to year that showcase and actually put their impact on the field. And so for a quarterback, things like playing from a clean pocket, for running backs, things like when they break contain, how much breakaway speed do they have, things of that nature. And so we also weighed them on a 3-year average, not just that single season. And so we have every player at our disposal of that as well. Like you said, there's no way those players are going deep to look at every other roster, more so who they know, but probably the biggest shock, Baker Mayfield not cracking the top, but cracking the spike rating pretty well.
Yeah, that was interesting. But are you also telling me that Drake May's a better player than Joe Burrow, or is it the injuries are part of the model here?
Part of the model. With obviously 1 or 2 year sample size, and someone like Drake May doing what he did last year, you have to figure out how to weigh that. And then you also have to look at. You saw Joe Burrow play a full season. And what happens if he doesn't? So yeah, we did take into consideration the amount of continuity and the changes and the rosters around them as well. So top 10 quarterback on the field for 17 games this year.
Yeah, Chris, you got to scroll for a while to get a Cowboys. So just in case you were checking it out, it's going to take you a while to get there. People should check it out though, ProFootballNetwork.com, and it's cool. And it is a great analysis and breakdown of how they got there, why they got there. You can go look at positions, and it's all fun stuff. I got a kick. I'm sure you watch, although you're working on a bunch of stuff. SEC Media Days this week. There was this whole thing about breakaway, then how tough things are and everything. I'm going to ask you to evaluate personnel. And numbers speak for themselves about how the SEC has had players drafted. The Big Ten certainly has had their fair share. So I'm going to ask you, based on talent, what's the gap of SEC to Big Ten? Is SEC still above them? How significant is that? And then as you look down to the ACC and Big 12, what is that hierarchy when you look at the personnel of rosters?
Yeah, I think it's very clearly the SEC still outweighs the Big Ten. I think if you look at someone like Michigan, where they just won the national championship just a handful of years ago, and they've not quite been able to recoup the talent and the ability to get back to that upper echelon or win the games that mean the most for them. And you have these SEC teams that are beating up on each other. So a lot of these teams, unless you get out and come unscathed from your SEC schedule, you're going to look beat up. You're going to not have that record, et cetera, et cetera. I think the gap is still there, and it's significant from the SEC to the Big Ten, but not as big as from the Big Ten to the Big 12, and then to the ACC. So overall, I think the ranking is the SEC takes the best in Florida, and Texas, it feels like at this point, and it feels like maybe that gap in the Big 12, 10, but we're a few seasons away from that one.
One coach that I'm not saying he's on a hot seat, although some of his fans may want to put him there, and a guy we've talked about is Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. And as we've talked, you've got to have good quarterback play. And he acknowledged that they will enter camp with a quarterback competition, which sometimes can be good. Often it means you don't really have an idea. So I don't know if you think someone's going to win that job at Alabama. Is there a clear difference between the two? But he's got, two guys that they're going to pick up with Austin Mack and Keelan Russell from a distance. When you look at the personnel situation in Bama, what happens at quarterback?
Yeah, I think you have to almost have someone like Keelan Russell win this because at least what we've seen from him in his recruiting profile and little snippets here and from spring practice, he's got that creation capacity more so than Austin Mack would. So to DeBauer being on the hot seat, I think it was never going to be fair for anybody taking over Nick Saban's spot because he's always going to be compared to what Saban was able to build and what Saban did yearly on a consistent basis. What not ranking in the top or top 10 of the class to be the antithesis. So here we are saying he's maybe on the hot seat. It's unfair to him probably, but he does need to win game that Russell will ultimately give him the best chance to do so based on what that roster looks like this season.
I'll stay in the conference. We were doing Chris and I were talking about football yesterday, and I use Arch Manning as an example. We're actually talking about who becomes the first $100 million a year quarterback in the NFL, meaning is that guy in the league now that another contract, or is it somebody in college that their second contract might get him to that? And just I was using Arch Manning as an example, saying, hey, if he had a great year and he was the number one pick, his second contract may put him there. Chris said, he's been overrated. And I said, hang on a second, a little bit of defense. You and I talked about the season last year. He wasn't great. He was much better from the game against Ohio State to was at the end of the year. Is it fair or unfair, because he had 1 year as a starter, to say, well, he's been a disappointment at Texas?
Had he not rounded the corner or taken that proverbial next step when the season was ending or coming to the late November and then the bowl game, had he not taken that step, I think it was very easy to say that he was a disappointment so far. But I think with the growth that we saw, you mentioned it, probably the worst that we saw him was during the injuries, but also the Ohio State performance. And even still, that wasn't that bad when he finally let it rip in that second half of the Ohio State game when they were down. That's what I think he brought to the table. And I think that's when I started to showcase as the season wound up. And again, I know it was Michigan's backup string, third string, in the secondary in the ball game, but he lit him up. And that I think it's the ceiling that we can look at him and evaluate going forward.
Dylan Raiola did something that maybe surprised some people, though the guy that he's going to sit behind maybe done the same thing. Is there any other example, and is it also another position where a guy that was playing as a starter opted to transfer and basically was going to watch for a year because they're going to go there, learn a system? You know better than me, but quarterbacks you might think, but have we seen anybody else do that? Running back, wide receivers, linemen at all that said, I'll go, but I'll sit and learn for a year?
It's almost like the old days of the transfer portal, where you knew when you transferred to a bigger program or a more high-profile program, you had to sit. And I think we have countless examples from back in that old era, but in this new era, I don't think that we have at least a high-profile quarterback or high-profile player like Raiola have done this. There's Mekhi Hughes who left for Oregon from Tulane on the I'm going to play and then not playing because there was more talented players in front of him. But I don't think we've seen this where a guy like him who commands the NIL evaluations that he did coming out of high school, had the whole journey that he's had, the tumultuous 2 years and then do this. I don't think we have this. I don't know if that is going to be the norm. This might be the incredibly rare instance of the transfer era.
I am going to ask that question, Chris. Let's see what Cam thinks. Project either A, quarterback now, guys that are going to be in the quarterback class in 27 or even after, Who's the first $100 million a year guy?
It's tough. I want to say almost. If you use NFL current quarterbacks, Drake May could be that guy. I mean, this last year being a single vote away from the MVP, taking them to the Super Bowl. What will this year look like for him? That'll give us our clear answer. But then I think the nails on the head. It's Arch Manning. If there's somebody that's going to command the name value, the brand recognition. If he can continue that upward trend that we've seen from him, he'd be the first overall pick. He'd be a Manning. He'd get that second contract, and I think he would maybe also command that based on where we are in the NFL, or the real estate that is the NFL and the contracts by that time.
NFL camps, for the most part, have everybody in, rookies and so forth. Give me, I asked Mike O'Donnell this basketball before, give me the guys that you think will have a smooth transition because of the position in play, that you think will have no problem being successful as a rookie, offense, defense, whatever position, and it doesn't have to be quarterbacks here. There's certain guys like great spot, great opportunity, will be successful.
Yeah, so here I'll give you the home field advantage here. Chris, for you, this is Caleb Downs territory. I think he slides in immediately. I think he's a player. I think his skill set immediately translates over as well. No matter where he plays, he can bounce around the secondary, find his way from the slot to free safety, come downhill and run. I think there's a lot to like about him, and then I'll stay on that defense as well. And I'll go Sonny Styles with the Washington Commanders. So I think if you look at two players that are going to slide in that have NFL ready bodies, NFL ready skill sets, styles and Ohio State defense.
Give me an under the radar guy then, that just because of who they might be playing behind as we get mid-season, hey, he's going to be good.
Can I go Colton Hood to the New York Giants? And again, I'm not pitching to my home audience here.
It's okay.
I do know. I love Colton Hood's ability. He finally got his foot underneath him, or feet underneath him after his experiment at Colorado. I thought he was a first round pick, top 15, top 16 kind of guy at his height. And I think if he can acclimate to the speed of NFL receivers, like we saw him do in SEC play, that's a guy who could be not just a spot starter, a reliable quarterback.
Before I go, I want to promote, again, Pro Football Network has their top 100, much different than what the players did. You mentioned Baker's not there. Was anybody else that you were surprised didn't make it based on the model you put in there? And then who do you think, whoa, I didn't have them that high? Because Drake May, by the way, is 8th in your poll.
It was Drake May. I think we wrote the video script about it because we looked at it because of Drake May. We reran the numbers and we punched in some weights to see where it would come out. And honestly, 8 is the lowest we could almost get him. And then in terms of lack of missing somebody, I think Baker was the biggest one. But then I think the lack of running back that we had shouldn't be a big surprise. But we didn't even really have Derrick Henry. We didn't have no matter which way we did it. Running backs. It's the value of running backs. Really out there. Really down. But no, Baker's the biggest surprise. The highest surprise we had too.
We got a NFL preseason game in 2 weeks and only 5 more college football-less Saturdays before we get to week 0. So, I mean, creeping up on us, huh?
It's the best time to be alive. Week 0, once it hits. If you're not watching week 0, what you do in life. I will say this. I wish Canton, Ohio was easier to get to. The Hall of Fame game is a lot of fun to go to, and I recommend everybody get there if they can.
And at Canton, I wasn't there for the Hall of Fame game, but we played when UCF was in the MAC. We stopped once and went to the Hall of Fame, which was really cool. Check out Cam's work on X or Twitter at Cam Miller. Support the stuff they do. If you're a football fan, there's a lot of great things. The Pro Football Network Top 100, which is really cool, breaking down positions, overall rankings, season preview, and all that great stuff. Have a great week. Thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks.
Cam Miller with the good stuff playing to your heart there, Chris, right?
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs.
I think he was kissing up because there's not a cowboy anywhere near the top of the top 100 there.
Don't be a hater.
By the way, I'm sure you saw, boy, that John Harbaugh clip went viral, huh?
It's so bad, Mark. It's so bad.
The New York Giants, man.
It's so bad.
It's fine.
No, it's bad.
It's fine. They're not going to win or lose games because of a cheesy speech in front of rookies.
No, but
80% of that room will not be there the start of the season anyway. It doesn't matter.
You'd think you'd at least want to pump up the team, and it's just, oh my God, I just wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah. All right. The 11 o'clock hour features a history lesson. Today's history lesson is one of those great stories that when I share with you, you'd be like, wait, that almost happened? Oh, if that happened, then what? It's got like a domino effect from 30 years ago. So we'll get to that. The hour is going to kick off with the news. When do you want to eat the breakfast bite? I just got to heat it up.
Let me see when the longest break is.
That's good.
Let's do it.
The audience how long we're going to be gone.
Let's do it next break.
After the news?
Yep.
All right.
After the news.
All right. Hour kicks off with the news next.
Let's really do the news.
Yes. Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WYGM Orlando, WJR, HD2 Cocoa Beach. Marc Daniels, Speed of Sports. Chris Vasquez over there. The news, if you missed it late last night, Orlando City back after the World Cup break in a 4-0 win over San Jose. Antoine Griezmann scored the third goal for Orlando City. Their newest star did perform last night. And the lads look good in a 4-0 win over San Jose. Sit 10th in the East. A lot of time left to make up ground after what's been an awful start for Orlando City, with a win 4-0 last night. Staying with soccer, Jurgen Klopp, who managed Liverpool for a decade, is going to take over as the national manager for Germany. He stepped down from Liverpool because he said he got tired and just needed a break. Didn't say he was never going to coach again. He'll take over Germany's national team. Norway's football federation chief is likely going to file a formal complaint with FIFA. Norway didn't play the USA, but it's believed that they'll represent a lot of European countries in filing a formal complaint over the red card being overturned for the U.S. That allowed Balogun to play in the match against Belgium, and also filed a complaint regarding President Trump's involvement, whatever that may be. So I don't know what that leads to, probably nothing, but nonetheless. Elsewhere, Red Sox had their 15-game win streak snap yesterday, split a doubleheader with the Orioles. They won their 15th in a row, then lost the second game. Lane Kiffin was speaking at SEC Media Days today. Kiffin went a long time before anybody asked questions. It was believed that Lane did that on purpose to kind of limit questions. And he added this one regarding playoffs and how committee views teams and all that stuff.
I just think that it's going to cause issues that we've already seen until we can get into a world where people can actually look at teams and say, that team that is 9-3 with their schedule is a better team than that 11-1 in a different conference, which now I think we aren't even close to doing that. I think it caused a problem.
Look, he's not wrong, and yet there is no easy fix. And Chris, just like everything else, in order to get rules in college football, you have to have people that want rules to agree to have rules and then live by the rules. The problem is the SEC, Big Ten, whoever, they're not going to agree to any type of system regarding ranking of teams to make the playoff that doesn't benefit them. They don't. Again, I've used this example before, and if you got 5 minutes to kill one day, just go do a search of how the NCAA hockey tournament picks its teams. There are conference champions that get an automatic bid by winning the conference championship. After that, there's a rating system that the entire sport recognizes how the rest of the field then is filled. It takes into account your strength of schedule, road wins. It is a computer model that is live every day during the season. Every day during the season. When a team plays and other games happen, it is a live model right there that ranks the teams. If you can get everybody in college football to agree to something similar, Chris, you should be laughing right now to that. If you can get everybody to agree, then that's fine. They do it. Is it perfect? No. But here's the thing. Everybody agreed to follow the computer model that the NCAA uses for its at-large teams in hockey. And there's complaints at the end of the year, but they all know what the model is, and it's real time. Can you imagine if we had that in college football, Chris? No. Why? Well, yeah, but it doesn't take into account how hard it is to go to, to go to Fayetteville on Saturday at 6 o'clock. But Kiffin's not wrong. And then you go, well, wins should matter. Again, I can show you a 9-3 team that I think is better than an 11-1 team. You may say, well, don't wins matter? And I may say, yeah, the 9-3 team played 6 games against teams ranked in the top 12 when they played, and the 11-1 team played 1.
Mark, it doesn't matter if anything is agreed to, because the minute it goes against the way they want it to go, rules suck. Let's sue and figure out how to change it. So why do we even bother coming up with the rules? Why?
Speaking of suing, mentioned the story earlier. Cole Hudson played football at Texas for 4 years and started almost 30 games at Texas as an offensive lineman. He entered the NFL draft, did not get drafted. The Cowboys invited him as an undrafted free agent to their first minicamp, and he participated. But at the same time, he hired lawyers to go sue the NCAA because he didn't get a fifth year of eligibility. When the NCAA set a 5-for-5 rule in place, they had to pick a year that starts that said this class gets the fifth year. His class in 2022 didn't get that fifth year. He filed a lawsuit saying that the NCAA was prohibiting him from advancing his skill set to play professionally, being paid by Texas to play, and earning additional NIL money. A Texas judge yesterday ruled in his favor. A hearing is now been set, but the temporary restraining order will allow him to be eligible to play at Texas. This comes a couple of days after Greg Sankey said we need rules in place regarding things like eligibility. As of now, Greg Sankey hasn't stepped forward to say why this player should not be allowed to play. NFL training camps continue to open, and you'll get a Hall of Fame game just a couple of weeks. How about that? Chris is fine.
August 6th, baby.
Victor Wembanyama will be on the cover of NBA 2K27. Caitlin Clark will appear on the cover of the Deluxe Edition, and Derrick Rose will be on the cover of the Ultra Edition. Get them all, Chris. Get them all.
Sure.
What else do we have for you? Speaking of Caitlin Clark, she picked up her 7th technical foul last night. One more, and she gets suspended. All-Star Weekend coming up for the WNBA for those that are into that. And the Gwinnett Stripers, the Braves AAA team, put out a lineup on Tuesday with a combined 1,038 Major League home runs. They did this on purpose with a lot of guys that are still hanging around in some form. Andrew McCutchen played. Carlos Santana.
Good Lord, he's still around?
Not the singer. But he's got 335 home runs. McCutchen, 333. And, 1,038 all-time Major League home runs.
When's the last time Carlos Santana saw a Major League field?
You mean as a player or just like at the stadium?
As a player.
Hang on. I'll get you that answer in just 1 second. Actually, this year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Played 8 games for the Arizona Diamondbacks earlier this year.
Okay. How old is he?
He is 40.
Wow.
You ready?
Let's go.
Cleveland, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Milwaukee, Arizona, Chicago.
Kind of 9?
Yeah. Got nothing on Josh Johnson, the quarterback, though, right? Got nothing on him.
Nobody's got anything on him.
Got nothing on him. Yeah.
Dude never has to buy T-shirts again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's happening in the world of sports. History lesson about 25 minutes with one of those stories where so many things could have happened that would have had a domino effect that the way we see things today would be significantly different. We'll get to that coming up a little bit in the Beat of Sports. We're going on the stream, the show within the show, which you can get to on our YouTube page, 96 The Game Orlando. Click on the logo, the live button, and also access the video stream on our Twitter at 96.9 Game On. Chris is going to eat my breakfast bites. Hope they're still warm.
I'm sure they will be.
Just don't think about what's in them.
I'm
Just
not going to.
eat it.
Yes.
All right, we'll do that. We got more of the Beat of Sports coming up.
All right.
Yep. Okay, so last night at home, I made breakfast bites and brought them in. And Chris is going to try a couple. He's right. I should have not told him what's in it.
Hey, you know.
Although
me.
you would have pressured me to say what's in it.
No.
But it's cottage cheese.
Although knowing you, I would have known it as something healthy.
Cottage cheese, bacon, breadcrumbs.
Oh, you didn't tell me bacon.
I'm sorry, not bacon. Cottage cheese, broccoli. I could put bacon in it. Cottage cheese, broccoli, breadcrumbs, egg, and cheddar cheese.
Good bite.
And and Chris has 2. I put more cheddar cheese. It's going to drown out everything else.
It's not bad. I do taste the you get a little bit of the broccoli.
You can
it's
barely
not,
taste it.
It's not bad though.
Right.
I would not go out of my way to order it.
But you
it's
get more
not
of the
bad.
egg and the cheddar is what it is. The broccoli is like the third flavor. And you can't even taste the cottage cheese because that's just part of the little cheese makeup.
Right.
Yeah.
But no.
Nice little snack for yourself.
Not too shabby.
60 calories each. Very healthy.
Need to watch my weight.
Well, I'm just telling you. Nice. See? Not bad. You're not going to throw up.
Not bad.
Maybe not that supermarket sushi at 10 o'clock in your bed last night that you had.
No, it was 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. And then you ate the sugar candy and went to bed, had no problem going to bed?
And then, of course, my daughter wakes up about 11:30 just screaming because she's teething right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Canines and molars, they are the worst.
I couldn't package the cantaloupe ice cream that I also made last night, but yeah. I mentioned got that big dinner tonight with my future son-in-law's parents. Big one.
Excited?
Yeah, they're good people. They're great people. They insist on paying tonight.
All right. So what kind of desserts
They're
we
out,
got?
everybody.
What kind of desserts
I'm
we
going to order a
got?
bottle of wine for a friend of mine over there. Don't worry about it, all right? Just
It's the most expensive bourbon you got? Yep. Hit me.
listen.
Double.
They're the nicest people, but when they go to a place that they've never been before, and they've not been to this restaurant, my daughter's telling me that they're going to get there probably an hour to an hour and a half before the reservation just to make sure that they don't get lost. Yeah.
I can actually appreciate that, though.
Yeah?
Especially if it's a place where, I don't know if you have to, like, find parking on the street somewhere. That's always a pain.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
make sure you get a good parking spot.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Okay. I know. I'm excited. It's fun. I like them. Again, I'm not like we're meeting them for the first time. They're great people. Just one of those things. Yeah.
Is this the first dinner you guys have had together?
No.
Without without kids?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first couples without the kids. I mean, we've dined out a number of times with the kids.
Okay.
And everything. Kids. Yeah. And
they'll always be kids to us.
I don't want a lot of wedding talk.
You think there's going to be a lot of wedding talk?
No. There's a couple of things that they want to go over, which is fine and everything, but I want to make sure that the casino in the backside of the reception stays open a certain time. That the petting zoo always has something going on there. I mean, all the little things we're going to have at the wedding, they're important.
Now, what kind of casino games we got? Now you piqued my interest.
Well, full casino. Daddy's going to make some money back on it.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you popping there? What are you drinking?
Liquid Death.
Did you just finish one?
Yeah.
What number is this today?
So this is the sparkling water.
Oh.
I've had my 2 energy drinks. That's my limit for the day. I never do 3.
Okay. All right.
I'm responsible like that, Mark. But this is my second Liquid Death water.
Okay.
It's good for you.
How many per day?
I've had as much as 4.
All right.
It's good. According to Yuka, it's not bad for you.
Yeah, I don't know the ingredients, but a lot of that stuff is innocent. When you get to some of the other things,
We got carbonated water, agave nectar, citric acid, natural flavor, and stevia leaf extract.
What?
a minute and a half here. We got carbonated water,
Yeah.
agave nectar, citric acid, natural flavor, lime and orange, and stevia leaf extract.
Okay. All right.
That was good for you.
Yeah. Sounds really healthy. The only thing missing is mechanically pulled chicken. It's the only thing that's missing. And spam.
Still have not had a hot dog since.
Oh, yeah. But you got to go. I mean, the next time you're at the grocery store, you got to go by and grab the
Not gonna happen.
Hello Kitty spam.
Not gonna happen.
Or yeah, mechanically pulled chicken.
Oh. What?
If you've never looked up the definition of mechanically pulled chicken, just
don't.
do a search on that.
No.
Yeah, you'll never eat chicken again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still haunts me to this day.
And it's impossible to not conclude it didn't end well for the chicken.
Oh, all right. We got 30 seconds.
Sports, more banter, more Marc Daniels. This is the beat of sports.
Listen to the show on FM 96.9 AM 740, the live stream on our YouTube page, and access that also through Twitter, and listen in podcast form, the Beat of Sports on Demand. We have a stamps question?
Not a question. Someone.
We were talking stamps yesterday. My youngest daughter went to the post office to buy stamps to send out the save the date for her wedding, and literally had no idea what to do and didn't know where the stamp went in the envelope. And when it came to mailing something to her cousin who lives outside of America, she didn't know how to place multiple stamps on the envelope. So yes, what now?
So this person says he actually works at the post office. There's actually one stamp that is called the International Forever stamp. So it doesn't matter which country it's going to, as long as it weighs 1 ounce or less, just put that international stamp in the upper right corner. Doesn't matter.
How much is that stamp?
This he does not say.
What is it called? The international stamp?
The International Forever stamp.
The International Forever stamp?
Yep.
What a pretty name.
Right up or down, just the.
Well, there it is. Oh, $1.75.
Doesn't matter with stamps if you
Look
stack
at
them
that.
left, right, up or down, just upper right corner.
Look at that.
There you go.
$1.75.
And
I think my daughter put 3 stamps on there, so she spent $2.46.
Yeah, so that was with the regular stamp.
Yeah.
You said they're what, 82 cents?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks for listening at the post office. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Remember yesterday I was talking about media rights and dollars that NFL teams make, and then a couple of days ago we had Drew Lerner on from Awful Announcing about the NBA looking at a streaming portal for your local team access. Now, the Magic have still yet to announce a deal for over-the-air, meaning a channel that you like WESH or maybe their secondary channel. They haven't yet announced that. I think it's coming soon, but it's likely a one-year deal because the NBA would like to get everybody on one streaming portal, meaning not this upcoming season, but the next year. If you wanted to watch the Magic play the Grizzlies, you'd have to go to whether it be ESPN, whatever they call it, ESPN Plus, or if it was YouTube or somebody, to access the streaming portal and then click on to watch that game, as opposed to whatever channel you'd watch FanDuel or wherever it's called. That's what the NBA would like to have happen. And you'd pay for it. You'd buy a season package, or maybe you can pay by game. And if you still wanted to watch all the other NBA games, you'd have to still purchase their league pass. Well, a little bit of just numbers here. And I learned this yesterday, and I was like, whoa. The Magic made a pretty good chunk of change by being on the regional sports network FanDuel. Because, again, they got paid every single month of someone that had purchased a cable package or however you access your channels, whether you watched it or not. Right? I mean, if your mom or grandmother never turned on a Magic game, she still paid for it if she had Spectrum or some other outlet. Just like you say, well, I never watch Hallmark. Well, you're paying for it. You just don't know about it. That was the great model. That model's gone. And I got a pretty good idea what the Magic had made, but I didn't realize this. Chris, you know how much money last year? Main Street was the group that oversaw these regional sports networks that were branded as FanDuel. You know what the Heat got last year? $55 million.
Damn.
Yeah. You know what the Heat's new deal? There was an ABC affiliate, WPLG Channel 10 in Miami, that ended their affiliation with ABC and now have gone independent. And they've leaned heavily into live local sports. And they are going to be the new home of the Heat for this season. It's reportedly $10 million.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a bit of a drop.
a little bit.
Yeah. Now, then I found out that apparently the deal also is based on a certain number of games that appear on their package, meaning what one guy still hasn't signed yet, Chris.
Oh, God.
Wait,
LeBron.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
If he signs, they're going to be part of the national television package to the max number of games, right?
Mm-hmm.
That deal was signed before LeBron signed. So either A, there's a prorated deal based, and as I was told, if they get below a certain number of games, then it's less than the reported $10 million. Meaning if instead of airing 65 games, they get 50 because the Heat get 32 nationally televised games. Not the same deal they signed up for. Plus, you would lose those games with LeBron for the national broadcast. But that's a significant amount of money that they lost.
Yeah.
And the Magic are not in the same boat, but it's an 8-figure sum that no longer is there. And I don't know the financial breakdown of their new deal. It ain't going to pay anywhere near what it had been paid. I mentioned earlier on the bridge, Kelly and I were talking the top topic about the state of Florida and the buzz of our college football teams or lack thereof. Outside of Miami, no one's viewed as a national championship contender. Florida gets that first-year honeymoon vibe, and John Summerall was good yesterday. He did all the right things and said the right coach speak stuff, and he's a different personality than Billy Napier, so he gets that first-year buzz with Gator fans. But nationally, outside of Miami, who's got a championship roster, there's no question. Miami's got the team, and they got a schedule to compete for a championship. There's very little buzz. There is a little bit with Summerall because first year and everything. There's not at Florida State. There's not. And like I said to Kelly in the bridge, a lot of Florida State fans were in the same position that Gator fans were last year. 2 years ago, Billy Napier's second-half run saved his job, and the Gators didn't want to think about the buyout, so they brought him back, and the thought was that DJ Lagway's going to come back, and he'll be healthy. Florida's going to get better. Lagway was never healthy. Florida didn't win enough games. Lagway's at Baylor. Billy Napier's gone. And there are a lot of people in Florida's fan base that didn't want the Gators to win because they didn't want Billy Napier back. Mike Norvell is in the same position. I don't know what the number is. Is it half the Florida State fans? Is it more? I don't know. But there's probably a percentage of FSU fans that don't want the team to win, which is the worst possible position for your fan base. At UCF, it's year 2 for Scott Frost. National buzz, not that big as far as Alonzo Barnett's UCF's quarterback. That's not drawing a lot of interest. And you got to win. You got to start winning. So in looking at those 3 programs, the most important early season game for all 3, and I'll do Florida State first, okay? They open up week 0 with New Mexico State, okay? Their Monday night game, Labor Day against SMU, is massive.
Yep.
It's massive. Kevin Jennings is a Heisman Trophy quarterback. They're putting a lot of money behind that. If you lose, then it's a bye week, which, wouldn't sit well after. And then you go to Alabama. You go to Tuscaloosa. Okay? And if you lose that, then you're 1-2. Trust me, nobody will care about the Central Arkansas Bears coming to town the following week. Just think of how September could go for FSU if they lost. Now, if they beat SMU, I'm not saying it's it's a throwaway game. As long as you don't lose by 50 to Bama, I think your fan base is okay. And then if you beat Central Arkansas, you're 3-1 with Virginia coming to town, and all of a sudden you feel pretty good. But if you lose to SMU and you lose to Alabama, no one's going to care again about Central Arkansas. And then you're sitting there going 1-2 becomes 2-2. Not that you can't go win games, but that's how big the SMU game is for vibes. Now, the lesson learned. After beating Alabama last year, we all thought FSU's back and top 10 worthy.
Well, how many fans are riding that high from last year thinking, oh, we can go into Bama's place and beat them? Regardless of how last season went for Florida State, they beat Alabama.
I don't think a Seminole fan is optimistic about that.
You don't think so?
I'll ask you.
I mean, I'm not, but
okay. Well, I
like to think I'm more of a level-headed fan than most.
The one for UCF that I think is very important, and if you look at the schedule, you'll think, well, it's Pitt the second game of the year. They play Bethune-Cookman the first week, and then they're at Pitt. It's important because, Pitt brings back a freshman quarterback from last year, the now sophomore, that was really good. The last time he went there, got beat on the Philly/Pittsburgh special that snapped the regular season win streak. But I actually think UCF's game at Houston and then at Oklahoma State, they got to start winning on the road. UCF has 2 road wins in 3 years in the Big 12. One at Cincinnati and one at TCU. And, the Pitt game's important because, like I said about Central Arkansas, you lose to Pitt, you're 1-1. It's hard to get people excited when Georgia State comes to town the next week. Then TCU is the conference opening game. But I think UCF has to start winning road games in the Big 12, and they have back-to-back road games at Houston, at Oklahoma State, then a bye week before BYU comes here. I just think you got to start winning games on the road.
Yeah.
I won't want to be 1-1, but I'm just saying you're going to end up in the conference. You have to start winning these games on the road. Florida's biggest game, and they open with FAU and Campbell. When the Fighting Camels come to town in September,
juggernaut.
We ain't playing around here, okay? It is their first SEC game. It's at Auburn. Alex Golich is the new coach there. Night game on ESPN. If they're 2-0 and they lose, it's not the end of the season. It isn't. But Ole Miss comes to town the next week, and Florida will be an underdog. Then at Missouri. I just think from a confidence-building standpoint for John Sumrall, winning your first SEC road game is a big feel-good moment for them. It'll get tougher. At October 17th, you're at Texas, then off, then the Georgia game, which is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year, before hosting Oklahoma. So camps open up less than a couple of weeks for college football. History lesson is next.
All right, boys and girls, take a seat and listen up as we take a trip down memory lane with Marc Daniels in this week's History Lesson.
History lesson of this week. It's the classic story of, wait, that almost happened, and what could have been. So, first, we're going to take the time machine back to 1996, and actually going to go back even before that. 30 years ago, in 1996, the Big 12 played its first sporting event, first football game, and came into existence. Now, the conference committed to go in 1994, playing its first season in 1996. But how they got there is an incredible story that we look at the present world of college sports, and it's fascinating about things that could have possibly happened. Texas, as far back as 1984, when the Supreme Court made a ruling that universities, not the NCAA, own their television rights. It was a big deal. In the wake of that decision, the College Football Association, which was the group that lobbied on behalf of the 63 members, which weren't called Power 4 or 5 back then, but they negotiated television rights and had a 5-year deal, the CFA, for $210 million with ABC. That wasn't a conference. That was everybody that played, quote, major college football. But Texas wondered, man, we're Texas. It was about that time that Notre Dame and NBC got in bed with each other and signed a deal that was like, whoa, who are they to do this? Bill Cunningham was then president chancellor at Texas. And that 84 ruling opened up his eyes and the people around him, saying there may be something here to breaking away and doing something on our own, or taking a look at where we are and the conference that we're in. The Southwest Conference had a problem. Arkansas had announced they were leaving for the SEC in 1990 to leave the following year. That would leave the then Southwest Conference of having only Texas-based schools. And the problem was about television sets that you could have watching your games. And Texas was concerned that they weren't getting as much national coverage, and a Texas-only league wasn't in their best interest. It led to the downfall of the Southwest Conference. Yeah, the nonstop cheating, bad guys, and everything was a factor. The death penalty for SMU was a factor as well. But it did begin to make people like Texas look and see what was going on. And the Southwest Conference knew that it had problems. A year before, Arkansas made the announcement, and in 1990 they made the announcement they were going to the SEC in 91. A year before, Bill Cunningham, the Texas president, was in Washington, D.C. for a meeting, and Chuck Knapp was the president of the University of Georgia at the time, president of Georgia. Cunningham approached Knapp and said, hey, would the SEC have an interest in Texas? That was in 1990. Cunningham knew the Southwest Conference was going to struggle for its future. By then, his goal was to find out what else could be out there. After engaging the interests of the Georgia president, Cunningham opted to also gauge the interests of presidents in the Pac-10 and the Big Ten. This is in 1990 when Texas was trying to figure out what was going on. That began to get out. And the whispers were, hey, it is about television dollars. It is about how many TV sets. And Texas began to push others in the then Big 8 about what a future might look like. There were some preliminary talks among the ADs and university presidents of the Southwest Conference and the Big 8. The Pac-10, though, according to Cunningham, had a problem. The problem was Stanford. Stanford was not interested in being part of any conference that would bring in the academics of Texas. That resonated strongly to Cunningham, who said, I'm not quite sure we could have a deal here, even though the Pac-10 at the time had told Texas there's interest on our part. So things stalled. At the same time, in 1990, the Big Ten and Jim Delaney contacted Notre Dame. Delaney was going to successfully bring in Penn State, and he targeted Notre Dame. Again, the early 90s when this stuff is going on. Delaney also spoke to Cunningham to gauge about an interest in Texas before he sold it to his membership. Texas wasn't the only school trying to figure out its future. Texas A&M was doing it. R.C. Slocum was a football coach then. John David Crow was the athletic director. Bill Mobley was the president. And they made sure that through the political power in the state of Texas, in the State House and Senate, that Texas A&M and Texas would be joined at the hip wherever they went. Cunningham, then the president of Texas, knew that the political power was strong enough that he had to keep Texas A&M updated on anything going on. R.C. Slocum, again at Texas A&M, spoke to Roy Kramer, then commissioner of the SEC. They also talked about the future of the Southwest Conference being shaky, and what about any interest in A&M in the Southeastern Conference. By 1992, conversations with Texas, Texas A&M, and now Texas Tech, because of political influence, had those three connected with conversations with a Pac-10 about taking all three, and would they find a 14th member? Back and forth they went. Some pushback of the Pac-10 regarding Texas Tech, no interest from the SEC or the Big Ten at the time. Meanwhile, the Big Eight also began to realize they too needed to think about survival. And as that was going on, lo and behold, Missouri and Kansas reached out to the Big Ten. This is in 1992. The Big Ten went back and forth. There were some discussions about a natural addition for Missouri and Kansas because of proximity and how academics lined up. Bob Stoll, the Missouri coach from 1989 to 1993, in an interview done several years ago, said they thought for a couple of months that it was going to be a done deal. Talks had kind of cooled. Joe Castiglione, who was the AD at Missouri, then now at Oklahoma, also kept his eyes and ears open. There was further discussion among the Big Eight and the Southwest Conference about a merger. The number, though, was too big, and the feeling was some of the brands weren't worthy. In fact, it wasn't just Southwest Conference schools that may not have been worthy. There were some that wondered, should Iowa State be part of anything? And maybe Nebraska was thinking back then about the Big Ten, and ultimately we know where that went. In the end, there was an agreement with some Big Eight members and Southwest Conference members. There was the uncertainty of TCU, SMU, Houston, Rice, and to a degree, Texas Tech. The two sides got together to begin to lay out the plans of making what would become the Big 12. The Big Eight Southwest Conference mergers were a lot of talk until things advanced. September of 93 laid the foundation for what would become the conference, but not yet finalized all of the members. There was a ton of political pressure when it ultimately came down to Baylor or Houston to be the 12th team. Ann Richards, the governor in Texas, had political influence. Others, including oil barons, ended up feeling that Baylor was the better choice than Houston. Some also say it depends on when you ask, because pre-election, Houston may have been a favorite. After that November election, before 94, it probably tilted things, particularly in the State House in Texas, towards Baylor getting in. In the end, Baylor was chosen over Houston as that 12th team. The Big Eight finalized plans and introduced themselves in 1994 to begin play in 1996 as the Big 12. TCU, Houston, SMU, and Rice scrambled to find homes for their athletic teams, left out of what could have been a massive payday at the time. ABC played a role in the new media contract, as did a young Fox in college football. They also made a decision about what brands to have and not have. That did help Rice. SMU was almost untouchable because of what happened with the death penalty. And then the discussion was something that hadn't seen. A TV deal with now these 12 members pooling their media rights and selling for what was a pretty good price back then. The Big 12 was formed. The others scrambled to find homes. Scheduling was still up in the air about what rivalries would be kept. Oklahoma was no longer in a position to keep some rivalries and when they played them, the thought of when Texas and Texas A&M were going to be played in Oklahoma, Nebraska. But then something else came into play. Before they finalized the deal in 1994 for the Big 12, Texas suggested something. Not an equal pie. Texas said, we think this model works. 50% of the media money would be split evenly among the 12 schools. The others, you would get money based on games chosen to be televised. Well, Texas knew that they would get more games than other members of the Big 12. And in the end, they didn't have much of a choice because Bill Cunningham did go back and say, you know, I could call the Pac-10 tomorrow and probably get something going. Others caved in the league. Texas got what they wanted. It benefited Oklahoma as well. The more you played on national television, the more money you got. It didn't sit well with other members because in the end, ESPN and ABC picked a lot of Oklahoma and Texas games. And that's how there was the imbalance of money distribution in the Big 12 TV deal. 50% shared equally, 50% based on appearances. The numbers added up over the years. In the end, it was an 8-year deal worth $95 million for the regular season, $27.7 million for the annual championship game, and a 5-year, $42 million deal with Fox. About $150+ million. Remember, the CFA got paid $240 for everything. It paved the way for the future deals of other conferences. There's no question. After 30 seasons of the Big 12, their original TV contract was the most significant TV contract in the sense of what it helped teach other conferences how to go back to the table when it came time to negotiate your media deal for your league. And a few final things about the commissioner. Where to hold the office was also a fight, ultimately choosing Dallas. That was something that took several months and weeks to finalize. So 30 years later, now the Big 12's got TV deal with ABC, ESPN, Fox, and TNT and so forth. Schools get this year projected to be almost $50 million in media money. But stop and think about it. As early as 1990 and 91, Texas had conversations with the Pac-10 and the Big Ten. And even the SEC, that one meeting in Washington with the president of Georgia. The dominoes could have fell back then. Who knows what would have happened? Texas may be getting set to play its 37th season in the SEC. If that stuff happened, the Southwest Conference would have gone away. Maybe the Big Eight survives in some form. But if Texas, and if they were tied to Texas A&M, who eventually got to the SEC, now Texas, what if that happened in 1991 with Arkansas? What if Jim Delaney got Notre Dame when he spoke to them in 1990? Who knows what would have been? So in the crazy world where we are today, just stop and think what would have happened in the early 90s when most of this wasn't reported about how close schools were to changing conferences because you just didn't do it back then. Now we just think about it every day. So 30 years later for the Big 12, it was a big moment when you go back and how that conference was formed and the way the TV deal was structured. Because if it goes a few other ways, the landscape we know today is significantly different in college football and college sports. We'll come back, put a wrap on the Thursday show next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends. Ooh.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Jermichael Stillwell played power forward for UCF last year, trying to get a fifth year of eligibility. Back in May, he tweeted his love for UCF, and if he got a fifth year, he was coming back. Until he deleted that tweet and just posted something that says, "I'm sorry, Night Nation. Just know you'll have a spot in my heart forever," with the broken heart emoji. The rumor is if he gets a fifth year, he'll be at Texas Tech. Have a great day. If you missed any of today's program, go where you get your favorite podcasts and type in the Beat of Sports on demand. You can also watch the video stream back by going to our YouTube page at 96.9 The Game Orlando. Smile, Chris. Have a good day.
Yeah, fantastic.
Chris produced. I'm Marc Daniels. See you tomorrow for a Friday edition of the Beat of Sports.